Rudolf Steiner and the Archangel Michael. We men of present time need to give ear to the Spirit's call, the call of Michael. Spiritual knowledge seeks to open in the soul of man, true hearing of this morning call. That was translated by George and Mary Adams from Rudolf Steiner's lecture, which can be found as GA40 in the archive. Who is the Archangel Michael? He is the one who stands before the countenance of God. He is the cosmic intelligence. Michael is the angel who endows human thoughts to help them to approach the world thoughts of the cosmos. Michael sends down to humans the world thoughts of the gods, but only those humans who are attuned to this vibration receive them. This is the season of Michaelmass, which is why we are doing this series. This is the time to connect with Michael and the thoughts he is sending down to us. I'm going to quote Sergei Prokofiev. Modern civilization is wholly founded upon human thought that have been slain by the dragon, upon the activity of the human head alone, whereas in spiritual science, world thought approaches us clothed in human conceptual form. This conceptual form must at first also be perceived by our head, but the world thoughts that lie behind them must find their way to the heart, as they know the organ of cognition, where they can be enlivened and inspired by our feeling and permeated by our will. This is the beginning of the new Michael Epoch. End quote. Steiner says, quote, the process of forming thoughts has for a time been lost in cosmic matter. It must find itself anew in the cosmic spirit, into the cold, abstract world of thoughts. Both warmth and a life-imbued spirit presence may enter. This marks the beginning of the Michael Epoch. End quote. Michael is a cosmopolitan influence, the imagination of the battle with the dragon which is in all cultures. This is an inner transformation. The dragon makes us bestial. The dragon is the lower part of us. We subdue the dragon, not kill it. The three-headed dragon rose separately from the abyss, and the dragon opposes the human I and the attempt to prevent the human to come to their full potential, and this is our dragon nature working on us. The taming of the dragon, the education of the dragon, Steiner says, is our mission. I noticed that some people get Michael the Archangel and the dragon and the pictures of St. George and the dragon mixed up. You can tell when it is Michael, for he will have the wings of an angel. Also, he has subdued the dragon, whereas George has slain the dragon. Remember, Michael redeems, George slays. Michael redeems, he holds out his hand to help Satan the dragon. He's not here to slay. Michael comes like the cherubim with the flaming sword. The last Michael age before the present was around the time of Alexander the Great, who spread his Greek cosmopolitan ways around the known world. Michael's age began in the last third of the 19th century. In 1879, Michael's battle with the dark forces. This completed his archangel round, and he ascended to the archai. He deals no longer with individuals, but humanity as a whole. Michael works on us by an impulse connected with the intelligence, an impulse to spiritualize our thinking. The Archangel Gabriel ruled before Michael, and during those years he dealt with the physical side of man's evolution. Michael's regency follows Gabriel's and deals with the spiritual element. Steiner says, quote, but always when an age of Michael dawns, a longing begins to arise in mankind to overcome racial distinctions and to spread through all the peoples living on the earth the highest and most spiritual form of culture produced by that particular age. End quote. And that's from Karmic Relationships, Volume 6. This is what we are listening out for. This is what spiritual science is preparing us for. We are supposed to be opening up to what Michael is sending down to us. Steiner says, quote, Michael is not the spirit who, if I may put it so, cultivates intellectuality per se. Spiritually, he bestows and strives to bring enlightenment to mankind in the form of ideas, as in thoughts, but ideas and thoughts that grasp the spiritual. His wish is that man should be a free being, but one who discerns in his concepts, in his thoughts, what comes to him as revelation from the spiritual worlds. End quote. Steiner goes on to remind us, quote, Michael was the greatest of the archangels who have their abode on the sun. He was the spirit who sent down from thence to the earth not only the sun's physical etheric rays, but within them the inspired intellectuality. And in those past days men knew the power of intelligence on earth is a gift of the heavens, of the sun. It is sent down from the sun, and the one who actually sends the spiritual intellectuality down to the earth is Michael. In the ancient sun mysteries, this wonderful initiation teaching was given. Michael dwells on the sun. There he administers the cosmic intelligence. This cosmic intelligence inspired into human beings is a gift of Michael. End quote. So this show is about encouraging you to connect with this cosmic intelligence that comes from Michael, because Steiner is explaining that this is your inner task and also the task of the Anthroposophical Society. He's encouraging us to work with the gods, with the archangels, and of course Christ. Steiner tells us that Michael inspires us with his own being in order that they may appear on the earth, a spirituality consonant with the personal intelligence of men, to help us become great thinkers, and not normal thinking, not ordinary thinking, but spiritual thinking. This is what Michael's domain means. This is what Michael's regency is about. Steiner says the leading of civilization out of decline is bound up with an understanding of Michael. Quote, many drops trickled through to the earth. Up above in the spiritual world, in mighty cosmic imaginations, preparation was made for that creation of the intelligence, an entirely spiritual creation, which was then to come forth as anthroposophy. And that again is from Karmic Relations, Volume 6. The Anthroposophical Society has a task. We have Archangel Michael inspiring us, whereas we could have the dark forces trying to distract us. Steiner warns us that Ahriman will try and confuse us. There's a battle between the Michael school and the Ahriman school. Ahriman is intent on conquest of the intellect of the intelligence. Rudolf Steiner warns us that one way Ahriman will do this is through books and writing. Ahriman will become an author and will paint his writings through human beings. Quote, then he teaches how Ahriman himself as an author has made attempts, first attempts of a deeply shattering, deeply tragic character, working of course through a human being. Nietzsche's Antichrist is Ecce Homo, his autobiography, and the annotations in The Will to Power. These most brilliant chapters of modern authorship, with their often devilish content, Ahriman was their writer, exercising his sovereignty over that which letters on the earth can be made subject to his dominion through the art of printing. End quote. That's from Karmic Relationships, Volume 6. And I think Steiner is warning us, but there will be many others, perhaps unknowingly, as in the case of Nietzsche, painting the words of Ahriman. A common picture we see everywhere, often as a tattoo, is that of the heart with a dagger through it. This symbolism is important for us, is directed to us. We should be allowing the sword of Michael to enter our heart, to pierce our heart. Steiner wrote, quote, one task of the anthroposophist is this, steadfastly to cultivate the Michael wisdom, to bring courageous hearts to this Michael wisdom, and to realize that the first penetration of the earthly intelligence by the spiritual sword of Michael consists in this sword being wielded by those into whose hearts the Michael wisdom has found its way. And so the picture of Michael in a new form may inspire each single anthroposophist. End quote. Michael in our head. We receive these world thoughts from Michael in our head. Michael rules this present epoch. He helps us to free the thoughts in our heads and bring them down to our hearts. He's making the cosmic intelligence into the fiery sword of the spirit, which overcome the thoughts put to us by Ahriman the dragon. As we are aware, this is a spiritual war that is continuing from the beginning times into today. I'm going to end with a Steiner quote. This battle, more than any other, is laid in the human heart. There within the hearts of men it is and has been waged since the last third of the 19th century. Decisive indeed will be what human hearts do with this Mikael impulse in the world in the course of the 20th century. And in the course of the 20th century, when the end of the Kali Yoga has lapsed, humanity will leave a stand at the grave of all civilization, or the beginning of the age when in the souls of men who in their hearts ally intelligence with spirituality, Michael's battle will be fought out to victory. End quote. So Michael becomes a time spirit so that he can work on the whole human being and he can reach the eye of us humans. Michael, the inspiration for Rudolf Steiner. The cosmic intelligence fell from Michael's grasp during the mystery of Golgotha. The Ahrimanic spirits got a hold of it and we must get it out of their clutches. Remember, Ahriman wants to lead us into error. Michael wants to lead us to the divine.